Perfect. Okay, so welcome everybody to March 17th, St. Patrick's Day architecture meeting. This one we slated a little more time for to go over some of the kind of the co-coding to get through some of the issues that we need to kind of tick off the make the check mark by, so we can get our release out. So for those of you that are new, the way we have our repository set up is all of our issues are under the main Ortelius issues repo. I had a meeting with a new person yesterday. I believe it's Hamil. He's in Armenia and was interested in doing some additional DevOps pieces. So I created some new issues. Right now they're all assigned to him, but if we want, we can split these out into different folks taking each one of these. One of the challenges with our architecture, and this is just in general with microservices, if you have the same change you need to make across all the services, you have to go visit a lot of repos, which is fine. The changes are easier to make, but you have to do them in more places. So we basically have our monolith, which is our Java Tomcat server that is running the main part of Ortelius. And then from there, anything new we've been writing in Python using fast APIs as a microservice container. So these here, like the dep package, the validate user, the text file, these are newer services that are written in the Python fast API. So one of the things that we need to do is add on the SIFT scanner. So this came out of Encore. Encore has a commercial side where they're kind of like a black duck, where they're going to go ahead and do some scanning of your code, figure out what the package is, I can't remember if they do CVEs or not. I don't think SIFT does. I know Encore does. And give you a list of everything that you need to fix. They will also go into like license compliance with their main commercial product. But the part that we're going to be using is the open source SIFT. So Utkarsh, this is very similar to what you wrote in Go, but they've taken it to the next level where it will support a number of operating systems. This one will go with not only the packages. So initially when Utkarsh was writing his, we were looking just at the Python libraries, running those. But this one has gone to the next level where it's looking at the individual packages at the OS level. If there's any Ruby gems, the Python pieces, which is what we are going to be needing out of our microservices, NPMs and Yarn, and then also the Java dependencies as well, Go and PHP. The one it doesn't address at this time is Rust. Is one of the ones that I'm sure is in their pipeline, but isn't out there yet. So the way we run this is we would have do the install and then go ahead and basically run just a command line and tell it what we're looking for. And what we're going to do is output it as a Cyclone DX JSON file. So right now, the specification that we understand to upload into Ortelius is the Cyclone DX JSON. So if we look back at the issue, we end up passing an additional flag to our command line utility, and that's going to give us our Cyclone JSON file that will be uploaded. And then what ends up happening is this gets associated to the new component version up on Ortelius at that level. So what we need to do is figure out the exact command line for SIFT and start adding this to our microservices. Now, where it's going to be done is, let me switch over to a different workspace. Pull one of these up. So this is the workspace for, which one I pick? The MS comp item CRUD service. So in here, we are going to have our cloud build YAML file. So our cloud build YAML file is what we use to run our builds of our services to create our Docker images. This comes after you check in. We have Google Cloud Build configured to look for any changes to the source code. And when that happens, we're going to go ahead and go do a few steps. One of the first steps that we're going to do is kind of set up the environment variables and derive some variables that we need that we want to persist into the component version. So I'm going to bring up another file here, which is our component TOML file. So this is like the definition of how we want to represent our service inside of Ortelius. So we have the name of the component. We're going to give it a variant, which is the branch name, and then we're going to build up a version number at that level. There's some other things that we're going to do. We're going to capture like the service owner, the commits, the builds, the actions, those type of things, the build URL. All this service catalog data is some of the information that we're going to capture on the fly, like the license and README. I don't know if this one has a Swagger file that's on disk. The way our microservices work, we have a built-in Swagger engine as part of them. So if you're running the microservice, you could do is, I think it's /doc, and it'll return the Swagger file for you. I'd have to double check on that. Utkarsh, do you remember how to get to the Swagger in the microservice? Is it in the /doc URL?
Exactly, I can't remember that. It should be /doc only. Let me check.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I know we built it in. So when we built our services, here's the example of our service. We try to keep our services to, I like to, under 500 lines. I think this one is a total of, we're right around 500 lines, is where we're 522 as part of that. So.
Yeah, it's /doc only.
Okay, perfect. So what ends up happening is we fill out information about our structures. What are we going to be passing back and forth? So we create a class for the JSON structure, and then we have a list, which is a class that contains a list of the items, and then we expose our endpoint and what's expected from the endpoint relationship. So in this case, we're expecting the list of the models. And then we get into our actual coding of the microservice itself. And you can see the actual the SQL queries that are happening. One of the things that we do have at the very top here is this level where we're going to make a call to another microservice. So we do have service to service relationships in Ortelius. So one of the things that we're doing here is we're going to, when somebody posts or does a get to our endpoint here, which is going to be the MS API comp item, one of the things that they have to pass us is a cookie that contains our JWT token. And that comes across in the cookies. So from there, we actually take the cookies and forward them on to this validate user endpoint. That will make sure that the person already has logged in, they've been validated, and that the token it hasn't expired or been revoked. This way we can kind of block people right at the beginning before they get any further to see if they are able to access the correct data. So we have our coding, our SQL statements, and then finally, one of the things that we just do in this case is we just build up the result, which is just an ordered dictionary. In our case, for this example, we return that, and then the Fast API takes over for us, which makes it really easy to code these microservices. What ends up happening is because this is Python, we need to grab at the container level all the Python dependencies that are and all the OS dependencies to create our SBOM. So that's where we're going to go ahead and add on to our cloud build the next step of doing the SIFT execution. So again, to walk through the cloud build, and this will pretty much the cloud build will translate over to a Jenkins pipeline, or if you're doing Azure pipelines, it's going to pretty much or like a GitHub action. The steps are going to change. The steps are going to be identical, but the some of the nuances of the build tool are going to you have to kind of adjust for. So in this case, with Google Cloud Build, the way you pass information from one step to the next step is you actually have to pass it in files. So in this case, what we're doing is we're going to drive from the Git repo. This command here is going to give us the number of commits that have been made in our repo. So one of the things in order to do that is we have to fetch all of the branches and all of the versions, all the commits that are out there. So that's what the fetch unswallow does. It turns it in from a sparse repo into a full repo. Then we go ahead and count all the commits out there, and we're going to use that. That's going to be a unique number that we can use for our build number. Next, we're going to derive the repo name and the repo URL. One of the weird things with Google Cloud Build is they don't give you that in a nice URL or like an environment variable. So we're going to go ahead and derive that as part of our process. Next, we're going to go ahead and install the command line, the CLI. And finally, we're going to go ahead and take this information plus what's in this TOML file and grab that information, and we're going to create that shell script. Now, that reason why we're doing that is we're kind of aggregating together everything that we know at this time. So we're deriving as much as we can from the build system. So the next step we're going to go into, because we use Quay, we're going to log into Quay. We'll see at the bottom where these encrypted user ID and password are coming from. The next step is we're actually going to do the build and push. So one of the things I missed right here is we're actually sourcing in this the shell script that we created from the previous step. So this is how we're passing environment variables along from step to step. So the source command here is a bash command that allows you to take run a shell script and expose all the environment variables to the parent shell. So this is giving us all the variables that we derived and make them visible to execution. So we do our login, we do our build, and then we have the one of the weird things with Docker is we actually don't have a Docker digest, a digest of the manifest doesn't exist until you do a push to a repo. So if you have a Docker image locally, you're not going to have the correct manifest SHA-256. So after we do the push, we can go in and inspect and query the information about that the tag and stuff and get our digest number. So this is a quick little one-liner, and here we'll see we're appending it to the end of our shell script. So we're appending the export of the digest into that shell script. And again, this is just adding more environment variables onto the end of our shell script that we can use later. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and tell Ortelius and Deploy Hub all this information that we gathered. So at this level, we're doing our update component, and we're passing in that TOML file. And also, again, we're sourcing in the cloud build. Now, one of the things that we're doing here, because we're executing in different contexts, we're just making sure that the deploy hub has already been installed. Sometimes these will come up in new containers and not reuse the existing one. So we have to make sure that the CLI has been installed. So at this point, we're going to take this whole TOML file and everything, all these variables will be resolved through our derivation. So here's like the Git URL that we derive, the Git repo. Short SHA happens to be one that is exposed from Google Cloud Build. Here's our digest that we derived. The image tag is another one that we derived. This one's actually kind of like a two-step process. We derived it from variant and version. And these, so you kind of do like this recursive resolution of the variables. So that gives us our image tag. And then everything is then pushed over to as a new component version with that name that we have. In this case, we have the deploy env is uncommented. So we'll actually go and do a deployment after we do the creation of the new version. We'll also create a new version of the application if we needed. So what we're going to be doing with the sift is adding it in, like after the Docker build, we're going to need to run a step to create that Cyclone DX JSON file. So it just has to, it doesn't really matter if it'll have to be after the Docker push, but before the update comp. Because what it's going to be is we're going to have one more parameter here. And this is going to be Cyclone. And in the Google Cloud Build world, the workspace is the directory where all files get to be persisted between the steps. So that's the additional parameter that we'll add on to the update comp, and that will go ahead and upload all of the contents of the JSON file as part of that. Let me see if I have one real quick. Show you what we're going to be updating. No. Maybe that one. No, that's that one. I saw one earlier. Let me try one more spot. Think I cleaned them up. Well, anyways, basically it's just a simple JSON file that has the packages. Oh, I know where one is. I was running the sift against a Spring Boot example. Let me see if I have that out here. Oh, there it is. So this is the what it's going to look like, and there's a lot of lot more data that is in here that we're not grabbing or not utilizing at this point in time. So let's see. Here is a jar file. So we have our Spring Boot jar file, the demo jar file. Let's see, I think this one may even have log4j in it. Yeah, here's one of the log4j components. So this is the information that we're gathering, and we're utilizing this. Mainly right now, we're looking at the name and the version to give that information up and push it into Ortelius. Also, I think we take the location as well. I'd have to look at that. Also, the licenses is another important part that we grab. So one of the things we do is we organize by license to show what's consuming what at the license level. So this is where right now we're grabbing a minimal part of it. One of the things I want to do for long term is to take these JSON files, and instead of just picking and choosing what we want out of them, that we'll go ahead and store this information into a graph database. So we can have a graph database with all the information, then we can query. We're not losing anything, and if we want to add on more fields into the UI or something like that, and we want to grab the information from the SBOMs, it's already been loaded for us. So if we needed to grab like the hashes and stuff like that, display those or use the hash for something down the road, we'll have those available in our database. So that's kind of like where we're at and where we're headed with our coding changes. So the issues that we're working on. So I'm going to stop right there and take any questions, and we'll kind of divvy this up and start doing some investigation.
Yeah, I think I'll take one of the microservices to investigate.
Yeah. So the when we go to it's this. No, I'm sorry. So right now our microservice. So this the MS dep package and the dep package R and dep package CUD are the ones handling on our server side uploading of the SBOMs and reading of the SBOMs from the database. So it's going to be we're actually using our own. We're going to be using our own services to update our own service information as part of the process. So that's part of the stuff that we need to work on. Also, we're going to be wrapping up the additional changes to the to other services. So we have our demo world out there, which is our hipster store. Last or 2 weeks ago, Arvin and Sasha, myself, worked on getting the component TOML and Docker files kind of rolled out and in place. So I think most of them are in place. I have to check a couple of the pull requests. And then also the ones for our services are pretty far along at that level. So I think we're going to be good to go ahead and grab these. So I guess where we should start is trying to figure out how to get SIFT to run. I've done this a long time ago. I think I have it installed. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I think we're going to be running this one. Can everybody see that, or do I need to increase the font? Let me go a little bigger. There we go. So let's do some investigation here. So here is one of our services, our validate user. So we should be able to do. I think it'll be just this tag. See if that runs. Nope. Anybody remember the format? -O. So we want -O cyclone DX. I think it's going to be JSON.
/O.
Oh,
Times.
I got 2 O's. And is there a way we can give it a output file? Doesn't look like it. I'll see what happens here. Oh, we're right out to output. There we go. Run that again real quick. Let's see what it found. It's running a little bit faster the second time. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So we have our Cyclone DX is the bomb format. We can see that it came from Encore SIFT. And let's see what we got for Python libraries. Oh, here's the at the Alpine level. So it figured out that we're running on a particular Alpine distribution, which is pretty cool. I have never seen this line before. and this may be of interest to us down the road, pull dependencies, where it looks like it's pulling in some shared libraries at the OS level, like libcrypto. This one is always a headache. The cryptography libraries always have vulnerabilities in them.
Yeah, and the other one is the decoder one.
Yeah, the buffer overruns on the decoder is a great exploitation. So there's PyJWT. Let's see. Oh, there's our SQL alchemy. So if we go back to our requirements. So it doesn't look like our requirements are up to date, or they must be coming from a separate layer. Let me look at the.
Yeah, I think
they're coming from here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Few of the dependencies that we're using more often, we wrap them into the base image.
Right. Yeah. So just so you, so like Utkarsh was saying is, we've created a base image that does a multi-stage build, because one of the things that we needed to do was to get the Python SQL alchemy and a couple other libraries, Python modules in place, and the only way you can install them was by running a compile. So you had to run the GCC compile. So what we did was we did a multi-stage build to be able to throw away the build layer and not have the GCC compiler as part of our layer. Let me see if this is going to be a Python MS base. Yeah. So this is where we're actually adding on the additional packages and some of the development libraries that are needed. Because when we do this pip install of the SQL alchemy and the JWT and the cryptography, they need things from the OS level to do to compile. But one of the nice things is we can throw it away and only copy over the pieces that we needed. So from there, we're going to take what was built as part of the install and push them over into user local at that level. So when we get to this level, we're inheriting that, and then we're good to go. It just simplifies this Docker file without having to worry about what we have going on at the lower layer. So when we have a CVE in crypto, we actually go and fix the base as one of our steps, and then we'll go ahead and bump the version, so it'll be 1.2 that will roll out at that level. So we have our SQL alchemy that I found. We should have like a TOML. It's actually a pretty big file. Let's see, I think one of ours is qtoml. No. Let's look at requests. Interesting that it did not see what it's doing is it's also picking up. So PyPy is the location. So that's the Python registry for where our dependencies are coming from. And I would have thought we would have seen, let's do this. Fine. 24 of them. Whoops. Go away. Oh, there's click. Click is a weird one. Click gets brought in even though we're not using it in our code. I don't think we import click. But even though we're not importing click in our main program, where click is coming from is for the pip installer. So pip itself uses click, and we'll get a vulnerability showing up in click through the use of pip. So one of the tricks that we can do is to remove pip from our final image. So when we're at this level, you can see that we're uninstalling pip or trying to get rid of the dependency on click. And that may be some of the other things that we may need to do for CVEs is to clean up stuff that's just not needed. There's our cryptography, fast API, unicorn. Looking good. That's interesting that there's a couple of versions of, or was it? There's pandemic. There's our fast API engine. Oh, I just read it wrong. There's our JWT that we depend upon. Also, we do some YAML pieces. So it's actually finding dependencies that aren't in our requirements file, which is great that we're bringing all that information in. Okay, cool. So any questions on that? I don't know what we're going to be doing here. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is we will put in a new step to go ahead and run. First, we have to install, because I don't believe the Google base image is going to have SIFT installed, so we'll have to do an install and then run the collection of the data. So what we'll do is we'll basically duplicate one of these blocks. We'll just run it under bash. We'll do the install. We know the image tag in the Docker repo, so we know when I was passing in the parameter, we know that information, so we know where it's going. So we'll have that information available. And in this case, at the end, if I can get to it, we would go ahead and output it to workspaces /bomb.json. And the reason why we're going to put it in the workspace is so it gets passed along from step to step. And then from there, we'll go ahead and pick it up as an additional parameter. So what we're going to do is, if you want, did anybody, let's take a look again. Look at the install process yet of SIFT?
Yeah, in the GitHub URL itself, they have mentioned.
Okay, so it's a Golang. Yeah, so it's Golang, and we'll be. Well, that would work here. Yeah, putting the one thing that I think we're probably going to want to do. Let me just open a new file. I think we'll need to do like /workspace. If we do here, I think we need a sudo. I can't remember for Google Cloud Build if we have access to user local bin. We'll have to play around with that to see what happens. We may need to add in the sudo in order to give us permissions to write into that directory. Okay. So who wants to tackle this first? This is a co-coding event. It's not for me to do everything.
Yeah, I have already taken this MS text file CRUD application and trying out.
Okay, so why don't you share your screen and show us what you got going on?
Okay. Okay, so the environment variables that we would need is.
Yeah, I think you are using the old branch of the cloud build.
Okay.
Change over to the deploy branch. That's another thing we got to do is oh, you got to go into one more directory down. CD into the text file. Ortelius.ms. Yeah, you got it. Oh,
which one should I use? This deploy, main, and
you want the deploy.
deploy. Okay.
What is your this is a fork, right, that you have?
Yeah, this is book.
Yeah, so do yeah, go ahead and
Are there like more branches or something?
no, just those. Just that your branch doesn't have I mean your fork doesn't have. I thought that would have worked. There you go. Yeah, I'll go ahead and clone it. Now, yeah, switch over to, oh, you gotta go one more into it. So try, yeah.
I'll try check out if switch doesn't work.
Try git checkout, just deploy.
You are in detached. That is it.
Yeah, it's weird that you're.
You want to create a new branch?
No.
So there are a few services on GitHub that are facing challenges. I'm just looking at the GitHub status and they have a bit of a problem with some services. I don't know if that has to do with what we are trying to achieve here.
Yeah, it's weird that it doesn't. So do a git branch -a. Okay, do a git remote -v. Yeah, those look good. Let me see if there's a magic command. Oh, okay. So on the switch, Utkarsh, just drop the remote origin. So it'll be just git switch deploy.
Okay. Yeah.
And now do a git status. Yeah, that looks good. You're on order. Perfect. It still doesn't. Oh, that's your old repo. Close that workspace.
Yep, that is cool. Okay.
See, that still looks old.
Is it?
Yeah, because we're missing. So go back to yeah, do a ls there. Yeah, so I think we're missing the toml file. The component.toml should be in that. Let me double check. Let me just make sure there's one up there and I'm not. Yeah, like you're saying, Joseph, they're having all sorts of problems. I can't even log in anymore into GitHub. Oh, you're right. There is no toml file yet there. I haven't gotten it out there yet. So there should be. Let's look at the cloud build.
Okay, so when we have build.
Yeah, so that's actually a bad one to choose because I haven't gotten to updating it yet. Try the comp item one. See if you can clone if you can clone that one.
Okay.
Now we'll double check that one. Yeah, that one looks better. So comp item crud. See if you can grab that or if it's. Yeah, that one.
Oops.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, GitHub is crashing now.
Yeah. So do this. Just go back to the parent repo
Okay.
and just clone that one. And we can actually work on this stuff, and then we can worry about a branch later. See if it'll let you do this. Cool. Yeah. Now change the branch over to deploy. All right, now do an LS and let's see what we got in there. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one to work with.
Okay, 1 second.
There we go. That's looking a lot better. Yeah, right now will work perfect. Yeah, so yeah, we can get rid of the environment
Okay.
variable. We don't need that.
And here we can write the commands.
Yeah. And
Okay,
I would
so
put
just
a sudo in front of the sh. I'm guessing we're gonna need it. Yeah, and this one I got the command here to save you typing. Let me,
I saw this parameter like scope all layers. I think this will give us more granular.
oh, good. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, so that will be exactly that variable there. Yeah, image tag. And then
Okay.
what were the other parameters we had? -o cyclone dx -json.
Cyclone
dx -json. Then greater than /workspace/bomb dot or yeah.
Slash
You
workspace.
could do yeah, bom.json or cyclone.json, either one. Perfect.
Okay. Anything else? To write at particular location, would it need additional permission? or
No,
something?
at that, because the workspace is opened to all steps, we should be good. I think you need on the previous line, after you use your local bin, a semicolon.
Okay. Yes, you're correct.
And that's just going to allow us to concatenate. Yeah, that looks good.
Do we have, okay, this is deploy branch. Okay. Is it
And then
looks good?
the other thing you could do is just add on a cat. So do another slash, space slash, and then next line do cat, cyclone DX.
This
Just,
whole directory, right?
yeah, I would, just so we can get the output into the job in case it breaks.
Okay. Shall I commit this?
Yeah. See if you can. See if you can commit directly to the repo. I think your user ID may be able to. So we're living dangerously, everybody, today, because we're allowing Ukarsh to commit directly to the repo, but with GitHub being messed up, we'll see what happens. Yeah, it'll give you that message about. Oh, it worked.
Oh, it got rejected. And this error is from GitHub itself.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Let me try it once more. Yeah, it's not going there.
Right. Dang. So go down to your in your file build file. You're breaking up, Arvin. Go down to the DH update comp line in your cloud
Hi,
build.
am I now?
No, you're still breaking up.
Okay,
You may
I
have
am
to-
joining you again.
All right. So go scroll down to the last step in that, or near the last step. Yeah, right. Line 93.
93. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do space dash DEP
Dash dash DEP. Okay.
PKG. So dep package.
All without any spaces, right?
Yeah, PKG. No, it's just dep PKG.
PKG.
And then single tick. Cyclone. Nah, that looks like a back tick, but Cyclone DX. Or just do
Single tick.
double. Yeah, just do double quotes. Yeah, and then Cyclone DX at workspace. At workspace / Cyclone DX.json.
Right.
Yeah, that whole file name. And just put a slash before workspace there. Yeah. So that should upload it. correctly. So what we've done on the CLI is so dep package is just we're going to hit that the RESTful the microservice for the dep package CUD endpoint. And one of the first things we're going to do is tell it what type of file we are giving it. And that's where the Cyclone DX @ is telling us the type of file. So there's a couple SBOM files. One of them is the Cyclone DX SBOM. And then there's one that's coming out of the Linux Foundation called SPDX. Right now, when we initially created our endpoint, we were just focused on a Cyclone. So we actually, if anybody's interested in any Python coding, let me know and we'll get you assigned to enable us to upload SPDX format as well. I can't remember if it's Python coding or Java coding, one or the other. I'll check here real quick. Let me go over to that. But we should support both versions. Where am I at? Combine them. Let me go over to dep package. Let's try committing that, Ukarsh, and then see if it'll let you upload.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I corrected that PR, the domain name of that PR.
Okay, cool. I will take a look. GitHub's acting up today, so we will. I'll have to look. Go into the PR hopefully when GitHub gets fixed.
Okay.
We're having problems just doing a simple push. No.
It's not taking yet.
Yeah. But that's basically what we've done is going to be the steps that we need to do for the other 5 microservice repositories.
Okay.
So, I was gonna say, let's go assign folks to the who wants to do what, but I don't think we're gonna be able to do anything on the GitHub side. Let me see. Let me try reassigning.
Should I try making changes here at the website itself? GitHub website.
I just tried assigning you to that issue, and it doesn't look like it worked.
Oh,
Yeah, their website is messed up. Yeah, so I was gonna assign you so Hamid was I just generically assigned Hamid a bunch of the SBOM issues yesterday, and we can break those out now since everybody has an idea of what to do. And it's issue 480 was I was trying to assign to you, Ukarsh, but it doesn't look like it's going to work. No, it's acting up big time. I wish I can't even create an issue as well. So let me share my screen real quick.
Can you share the screen again? If Utkarsh is working on it, that he is committing to the Ortelius. I think that's maybe I am wrong, but
No, he's trying to commit to the microservice repo, but GitHub is totally down. So let me. So this is the endpoint that we're hitting. So this is the dep package, and we can see we have the Cyclone DX as one of them, and then there's going to be a safety. So safety is another scanning tool that is used for CVEs for Python packages. So this is one of the other endpoints that we have. So when Utkarsh is doing the additional parameter, the dep package, cyclone at, and then workspace / cyclone.json, what ends up happening is he ends up getting routed over to this endpoint to go ahead and take the cyclone JSON format and pick through the pieces that we want. So we'll go through and grab the payload and the list of components from that specific JSON format. And we'll go ahead and grab like the package name, package version, try to find the licenses, and then put together the information as part of that call to save the component data. So it's kind of like a little intermediate wrapper that we have that the endpoint's doing before it goes and calls the common routine at that level. So we will need to create another endpoint for the SPDX format. So instead of dep package Cyclone DX, we'll have dep package SPDX will be a new endpoint. So if anybody's interested in tackling that, let me know. I would love to get out there and create an issue and assign people to it. But with GitHub being down, we're kind of struggling today with on that front. But I will create an issue and just raise your hand and we'll work through that to get that format out there. So if you, let me go through and let's see if this runs. So I'm just going to run with the SPDX output and we'll see the differences. And one of the reasons why we're doing this is the supply chain piece of the whole DevOps puzzle is coming into play, where folks want to be able to answer what are all the microservices and all the versions of the application that are running Log4j, for example. And with Ortelius, we'll be able to give them that answer in a few clicks instead of them going around and looking through all different web pages and everything, trying to find who's running Log4j, for example, in the different locations. Let me go ahead and pull up that. So that's where the need came from. Just to give you some backstory on that. Oh, my directory. Oh. I think I was in here for some reason. Oh, where am I? Oh, compounder car. Wrong directory. So we can see that it's going to be the data is going to be similar, but they're just going to have different tags. External REST versus other one, dependencies, I think it was called. They're going to have a different locators. Now this one's actually interesting. So this reference locator is actually pretty interesting because you can use this string to query the public CVE database to find out what CVEs are exposed for that particular, in this case, it's called Python rundeps, is the package name. And then all these little stars at the end are indicating which versions that you want to query for CVEs. It's basically like giving a range. So the information that we're going to need out of it is going to be like the license declared, the package name, those type of things. So we'll have to do a little work on the version number. So this is where, oh, here's our PyYAML that we're using. So PyYAML is under MIT license, and let's see if it has actual version number out here. Evolve our, and it's gonna be version 541. So if like I said, if somebody's interested, that is, as soon as GitHub comes back, I will go ahead and create an issue for us to support SPDX.
I'm interested, Steve.
Okay. What's Joseph? What's your drop your GitHub handle somewhere so I can grab it.
Okay, I just sent it to the chat.
Okay. And the idea behind that is we're going to take, we'll take the SPDX format and pull out the information that we want from it, and then we just pass it on to the common function that'll save it to the database for you.
Okay.
Let me throw that in here. So I think today we're kind of stuck because of GitHub. So let's just go do a quick review. And Utkarsh, why don't you go ahead and share your screen again?
Yep.
And we'll kind of walk through what we did. Or Utkarsh, we'll make Utkarsh walk through what he did today.
Okay.
So give it a share. There we go.
Okay, so basically the objective was to include the steps for security scanning tool, which is SYFT, Swift. So what we did, we added a additional step for that in Cloud Build YAML. Cloud Build YAML is basically a YAML spec that is used for GCP, Google Cloud Platform, basically to build the application or something. And what we did, it's a like simple step. We have a name for that, we have ID for that, and we're executing a couple of bash commands here. And yeah, and we did one additional change here. So what we are doing, we are passing on this the file that we have generated, JSON file, and to the what do we call the two other microservices, I would say.
Yeah. So the DH update comp, DH is the CLI program that takes an action called update comp. It's a weird carryover with a name. I initially wrote it for Deploy Hub, but it actually lives in the Ortelius repo. It's just somewhere down the line we got to figure out how to do like an alias or or get a new CLI name out there for this. But if you're interested in it, it's going to be under Ortelius/comp update is going to be the repo name that you'll see where the CLI lives.
Okay. So yeah, that's it pretty much what we did today.
So what we're going to be doing is, like I said, we have I think 5 microservices that we'll need to make the updates to, and there's a couple that are behind, like the initial one that we grabbed, which was a text file. That one's slightly behind. So if you do go into find a repository there, Utkarsh, in the search bar, go down a little bit. Yeah, right. If you do a filter on Ortelius-MS, yeah, right there in that to the left. No, go to the entry field on the left. Yeah, just type Ortelius-MS.
Okay, we have 14 results.
Yeah, so there's some of them we haven't been working with lately, but like the comp item, the dep package, text file, app history is a new one that Utkarsh is working on, and validate user. Those are the main ones. These other ones like the PyUtil, the report ones. The report ones we haven't, we initially started with, but we haven't worked on those in a while. So the main ones we took a slight shift in how we're doing some of our services. So the main ones are going to be at the top there that we need to roll out. And if you go to the up to the Ortelius repo, see if it'll, and go to issues. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and, oh, it looks like
it
took you. Yeah, it looks like it's slowly getting back to being alive. So I will go ahead and if you're interested, go ahead and grab one of the issues. Hamid is going to be working on one of them, but just make sure that we leave him as one of the coders, and everybody else can grab one of the other issues. So just go in and grab the issue and change the assignee to yourself at that level. And go ahead, Utkarsh, see if you can do your push again. Now that things are slowly coming alive. Just thinking about it. No, not yet. Yeah. So give it some time, and you could use Utkarsh's example, the comp item as an example to work from. Now, typically these will be worked off of a fork with a PR. So you'll be able to go in and fork the microservice repo, and then go ahead and make your changes, do your PR, and we'll be able to see where they're running. Now, one of the things that we can't quite see are the results, but Utkarsh, if you go to your Discord to our channel, I'll show you how you can get to the results. If you go down to the build bots, you'll see where I've been playing with doing updates and stuff like that. So if you go to any one of those where it says build log, it'll take you over to where the Google Cloud builds are actually running. So after you do your changes and you want to see what's happening, you can go in and look at the results. If you just click on the history, it'll show all, it'll give you the list of all the builds that have been running out there underneath our Google account.
And these are basically the branches, right? The reference.
Exactly. So if you go to triggers, I'll kind of show you how this is set up. And there's your comp item crowd, about 6 more down. Keep going right there. Yeah. So this is the trigger that I've set up. You won't be able to change it. So basically what's happening is on any push to a branch, we're going to go ahead and, oh, I'm sorry, we're looking at main and deploy right now are the filters. Yeah, exactly. So those are the 2 filters that we're going to trigger off of. And if you scroll down, we'll see that we're doing some additional filters for ignoring stuff. And this has to do with our GitOps. So with our Argo CD process, we don't want to get into this circular deployment. So we're excluding some triggers through the ignore filters. We're going to be using a Google Cloud build. It's going to come from the repository and it's in the cloud build directory. I think that's most of it. We don't get into any additional variables. We could define any variables that we wanted at the trigger level, but it's just too hard to maintain. It's actually easier to maintain variables down in the cloud build YAML file. So that's what's happening when we do the check-in. That's what actually is kicking off. Now we also do have some GitHub Actions that Brad McCoy and Ben are working with from the GitOps process. So if you go to our actions there, we'll see that there's a couple actions that has to do with releasing charts. So the page build one is just an annoying one that Google puts into play by default. This one here is actually taking our Helm charts that we have and publishing them to a certain format under the GitHub Pages branch in the repo. And that's all used for our artifact hub. So we have a lot of moving pieces. And today we just focused on one little piece of the puzzle and gathering our S-bombs. Now down the road, there will be adding on additional information around CVEs, like I said, and also signing or gathering signed information about those packages. So what's happening in the supply chain world is they're realizing that they need to sign packages that they create out of a build. So they know who did what and when, and that's going to be coming down the road. And that'll be additional information that we'll want to gather from a servers catalog perspective, who signed the package that we're using, so we can go, if it breaks or has a vulnerability, we know who did it at that level. So it's just bringing another level of trust to our whole world out here in software. So we're just coming up at the end of the half hour for you, some of you. Does anybody have any questions? Does this kind of make sense? We kind of ran into a little bit of a roadblock today with GitHub, but does this make sense, the changes that we've been working on today? Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah, I think that was helpful to understand the end-to-end flow. And you literally went at a very basic level of the coding and stuff.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, there's because we have the poly repos, divide and conquer for rolling out these changes is definitely a plus. So it may seem like a trivial thing to do, but as we expand into more and more services and we need to roll something out, that this type of help is definitely needed. And we're in a big place where right now we're trying to do some cleanup of our repos, get everything consistent. So that's where we're at. So thank you, everybody, for coming today. And as soon as GitHub comes back alive, I will go ahead and create that issue for you, Joseph, for the coding change. And then I will ping everybody on Discord for them to go ahead and grab an issue to work on. And Arvin, I will look at your PRs that you did as well.
Yeah, and also assign me new tasks.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And we'll be in touch. If anybody figures out that GitHub comes back alive, please send out a message on Discord.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Take care.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.